everyone. So I thought I'd bring you this little get ready with me today. This is a type of look that I've been doing a lot lately between not having a lot of time in the morning and having a cold the past week. I have been wanting to do kind of fast, easy makeup that really kind of gives me my most bang for my buck as far as time investment goes. So this does not take me too long to do. There are various points where I'll stop depending on how much I want to do. So it'll make sense once you watch the video. But if you are curious to see how I get this look and a little more detail on it, then stick with me. So I am still sick, so if I sound a little nasal, that is why. So the first thing I do, and I'm doing this pretty much every day, I put some sort of powder on my face to take the shine down from the moisturizer I'm using. I'm using the Makeup Forever HD powder. I have this kind of small trial size that I'm trying to finish because I want to finish some sort of makeup at some point. And I do like the finish it gives me. It doesn't take away all of the sheen, but if I want to leave my skin as is, not put any coverage over, I do enjoy the finish that it gives me by itself. And so sometimes I will just go with this on my face and not put anything with any color in it. So next I put on some primer on my eyes since I am going to be putting something on my eyes. So I'm using the Too Faced Shadow Insurance and Lemon Drop, and I do put that through my brows just because I have issues with brow products staying on my brows. And I gotta clean the mirror off in this powder because I can't see what I'm doing. Next up, CoverGirl+Olay, the Puffer in Fair. I'm still really loving this. I have a full review on it if you are curious, which I will link below. What I love is that it doesn't look dry at the end of the day. It doesn't have a huge amount of coverage. The color I have is not very correcting for me since it is, a little bit closer to my actual skin tone as opposed to a little darker, which can go kind of peachy. But it just kind of gives me enough coverage that I feel it looks quite natural. The finish is very natural when I set it with a powder, and it does last for me all day. So if I have any excess like I did under that eye, I just kind of smear it on my nose because that can always use a little bit of covering of redness. And then I'm using the NARS Light Reflecting Setting Powder, Pressed Translucent Crystal, ridiculous long name. And I'm just patting that under my eyes, and I like it doesn't make it cakey, but it does keep it from creasing a fair amount. And it's just a good combo. I think I talked about that in my review. Now the brows, this might seem a little tedious if you are trying to do quick makeup, but I feel like this gives me the best finish, the most natural finish, and of all the brow products I have, and I have a ton of them, it doesn't have the best lasting power, but with using the powder over the wax or gel, I don't remember what they call it, must be a wax, tinted wax, with the primer. Yeah, all three of these last pretty well on me. But the wax itself does not last at all. It will be gone like in an hour if I don't use primer and set it with the powder. But I really do like the finish it gives. It really makes the individual hairs look darker. And then I just used the little brush that came in the kit and just barely kind of dust over to give me a little bit of warmth and to set that wax a little bit. I don't know. I just love the way that this looks, and it's worth taking a little extra time on the brows for me just because they're so important since I don't really have much there. On my eyes, the only thing I'm using is this Wet n Wild single in Creme Brulee, and by the way, I'm using an IT Cosmetics shader brush that I got in a kit, which I don't believe is available anymore since they launched their brushes with Ulta, but maybe you can still get it through QVC. I'm not sure. Anyway, so I'm just doing this to kind of take down the darkness on my freckles, to cover a little bit of the veins, just make my lids look a little bit more even and smooth. And you could also use something like Painterly, but that can look a little dry for me on my lids when I don't put anything over it. And then mascara is the last thing on the eyes. So for me, this is like really quick eyes. I rarely don't use eyeliner plus, more than one shadow. Yeah. So I'm using CoverGirl Clump Crusher mascara, which I do enjoy, but whatever mascara you like, obviously, will work. And none of these are specific products for anyone except for me, just because they're the things that I like, but they won't necessarily work in the same way for everybody. And I do put it on top and bottom just because I like the way that looks. Just because my lashes on the bottom are totally invisible, whereas the ones on top are just mostly invisible. So a lot of times I'll just stop here. I'll put on a little, like an easy lip, something like the L'Oreal Coloriche, the Julienne's Nude, and be done. But since I want to do something a little more polished, feel a little bit more fancy, I'm using the LORAC Wet Dry powder in WD-1, and I'm applying it with a MAC puff. It gives me a decent amount of coverage. It has a really smooth finish. It's so much easier than a liquid foundation for me, since liquids tend to settle in my pores and just be a mess. I was going to put on blush, but realized I didn't bring a brush for it, so I need to use the powder brush. So I'm just going back into the NARS light reflecting powder, and this I'm applying powder to give me a little bit more of a sheen as opposed to the more matte finish of the LORAC powder, but it also is kind of buffing in the powder a little bit more. It's kind of like a 2-for-1 type thing. Now I'm putting on the blush with the same brush, and this is just Tarte's Dollface, and it's in that Off the Cuff palette, and I think they're re-releasing this one for holiday 2014, which is pretty exciting because I know a lot of people didn't get it. So that's fun. And then the last thing I'm doing is just putting on some lipstick. So this is one of the new creamy matte Maybelline Color Sensational lipsticks, and this is in Siren and Scarlet. It's the only shade I have currently, but I do want some more. And that is it. I feel like this is a really easy look for me to do. It doesn't take too long, but I feel like it has pretty high impact. It kind of wakes up my face, makes me look like I'm feeling great, all that good stuff. So thank you so much for watching. If you have any questions, let me know below, and I'll see you soon.